Right now we are walking on the base of Bela's truck, where a mobile nitrogen station with unique parameters will be mounted. The station is unique and does not have any analogies in the world. Its uniqueness is the ability to integrate into the transport dimensions the kind of equipment that allows us to obtain a unique ratio between costs and output gas products. The station produces nitrogen under pressure that is being used later on in various operations. This station will get delivered to the customer in Siberia, and there it will be used for coiled tubing operations, during wells repair, and it will also be used to increase oil recovery. This is one of the most modern methods. In order to extract oil out of the ground, you need to pump something into it. Before, water was pumped.
And now the nitrogen is being pumped. This method has proven to be the most effective. What does the station do? It releases nitrogen from the air and sends it underground. It takes 4 to 5 months to create such a machine. Usually 10 to 15 people are involved in the process. And while the equipment is being assembled, the client's employees go through special training. The company has a license to teach.
The employees come to us, go through the training, pass the exam and receive the certification for nitrogen installation operators. In the same way, we teach the employees to work on mobile nitrogen stations that we produce. The same process. They are being trained. And when our equipment gets delivered to the customer, it starts working immediately, because specially trained people can operate it with no problem. At the same time, even though our equipment mostly relates to mechanical engineering, it still belongs to so-called high-tech, to high technology.
At the end of the 40s of the last century, the decision was made the plant in Krasnodar had to exist. Now the company has more than 200 patents.
Compressor operators focus their attention on solving the main tasks of increasing production efficiency, accelerating scientific and technological progress, increasing labor productivity, and improving quality worldwide. In 1976, products worth 41 million rubles will be produced. This is almost 14% more than the last year plan.
Young specialists are getting hired to the plant. Here, everyone is ready to train and help. The average age of employees is 35 years old. Anton has been working here for almost 7 years.
I learned all the basics here at the plant. Experienced co-workers who have been working at the plant for 40 or 50 years helped me. They shared their knowledge with me.
The production director is satisfied with Anton's work. The guy is a hard worker, he earns a good salary and is not going to go anywhere else.
He started here first as an intern. After he graduated from Dinskaya Professional School, he joined the army. After the army, he came back to work as a simple turner. Later, he learned from a mentor to work at the machining centers. Now he is already operating 2 machining centers simultaneously. A machine that can perform a huge number of operations, from milling to boring, as well as some of the turning operations. The range is huge. In general, these 2 machines, these 2 machining centers, perform about 70% of our processing.
Employee-to-machine ratio is 1 employee with a reliable assistant, an automated system, per 2 machines. KKZ honestly admitted that there's no limit to perfection and you need to learn constantly. Now the company is also a national project participant. An agreement with the Ministry of Economy of the region was signed before our eyes.
Krasnodar Territory Development Fund really helped us with the training process. They funded our employees' training and financially supported optimization of the business process within our company. Because of this, we have managed to increase labor productivity several times already. As of today, we have signed an agreement to fully join this program. This means that the Ministry of Economics will closely monitor how we are implementing this program. And hopefully in the future, we can reach the point where we can receive soft loans.
Installation of a new gas compressor is successfully completed, and the bench tests just got started. It is designed to compress nitrogen, oxygen, air and argon to 220 atmospheres. Such a powerful compressor was created in our country for the first time. What fundamentally distinguishes the new installation from all existing ones is that instead of an expensive lubricating emulsion, graphite fluoroplastic is used. It is the new material developed in our country and used for the first time at the Krasnodar Compressor Plant.
The phrase "for the first time in our country" remains relevant today. They're used to thinking about and looking for new solutions.
The flying station is our special invention that is used to access the remote mining fields that are difficult to get to. These stations are manufactured in a particularly lightweight design so that they can be taken by helicopter from one facility and moved to another. There are certain restrictions on the weight, size, and hanging design of these stations. We have solved these problems, and today we are probably the only ones in Russia who make such stations.
As a team, we understand one thing. Our goal is to give our customers a new meaning. That means that we are selling the meaning. We just got a new customer yesterday, or the day before. We are making a new cylinder for him. It will be used for a linear motor, and so on. And this customer tells us that, yes, you have the standard equipment, and we use it. But we need a new meaning. We want to study it. This is the main goal. The customer is looking for some new, creative solutions. And if the customer is looking for something new, then he is at the right place.
To create pressure and gas separation, a heart beats in each product of the plant, a compressor, and even this main organ is constantly improving. This is a 4-row compressor, which is about 10 years old, and this is a 2-row compressor, which is only 3 years old. It became lighter and smaller, but the performance remained the same. The Krasnodar Compressor Plant has a patent for this design. Every new model is a reason to be proud. Here at the plant, they do not like to repeat themselves. Their creators can tell every detail about any detail, because it was invented and tested personally.
The uniqueness of this compressor is that we can get great performance in high pressure. What we just saw were stationary units. They give high nitrogen purity, but not high productivity. But for our mobile stations, we need both high purity, has to be more than 99%, and high nitrogen and pressure performance in order to pressurize it later on. The pistons that are used in this compressor are also made by us, and they are made of magnesium alloy. This is a light-weighted alloy, which allows us to get the dimensions we need in order not to go beyond the borderlines of the transportation that will be moving our products. And this is very important, because the mobility is one of the main requirements for our products.
The reason why is because such nitrogen modular stations from Krasnodar get delivered to the different regions of the country. Their mission is to protect the coal mining companies from emergency situations.
The uniqueness and the scope of this station is the fact that almost all the mines in our country have such stations. There are some in Kuzbas and also in Siberia. They are almost everywhere where coal mining takes place. Such stations help to avoid situations with fire hazards and methane explosions. They operate pretty much the same way as our mobile stations. We take atmospheric air and using membrane technology, oxygen gets separated from nitrogen and other impurities. As a result, we receive almost pure nitrogen with 99.7% purity.
The design department is the creative center of Krasnodar Compressor Plant. Here, the latest achievements of machine-building industry are getting summarized, and the new creative ideas are coming to life. And also, here, they can immediately go to production. For this reason, a special experimental site was created in one of the workshops of the plant. At the test bench, a new compressor, born as a result of designers' creativity, embodied in metal by the best manufacturers.
The designer's role is very important. They test and choose new materials that will help to reduce the dimensions of the equipment. They design high-pressure compressors for geological exploration during oil and gas production. They're working on relevant for Russia today automotive and gas filling stations.
We are currently also developing compressor equipment for gas compression for our oil industry and our chemical industry, since the suppliers of fairly specific equipment are now subject to sanctions. And this problem is very relevant. We just delivered compressors to the petrochemical industry for the compression of isobutylene, propylene, and dimethylamine.
I think in the future there will be a need to create compressors and installations for higher pressures, compressions and, moreover, in various designs. Stationary compressors, as well as mobile compressor stations.
The giants of the oil and gas production markets are renting KKZ equipment. It's used for pressure testing of gas pipelines and oil displacement. The company is also involved in well development.
Our equipment is used throughout the country, from the south to the east, in the far north, and in neighboring countries. The equipment is used to enhance oil recovery. We participated in the development of almost all the oil and gas producing fields. We can also brag about our work on the floating drilling platforms in the continental shelf zone in the east and in the north in Soviet. One of the largest projects we were involved in was the construction of a plant for the transportation and storage of liquefied natural gas in the Leningrad region in the city of Vysotsk.
Often, whatever's manufactured at this plant falls into hazardous production zone. Gas under high pressure usually means high responsibilities as well. Vladimir Komov every day manually wheeled seams. Work experience, half a century. His product successfully passed the X-ray testing from the first try. The seams are safe.
I came to work here in 1972, right after the army, and I'm still here. I haven't gone anywhere. All of our seams go through X-ray testing, and defects are not allowed. Any seam, if there is a defect, is being cut out and has to go through the welding process again. Just a minute ago, 60 joints went through welding process. One joint did not pass the testing, and 59 did.
But nowadays, not all the steps require the diligent work of a human. The computer took on many responsibilities. There's an optimization not only on the production itself, but also of the creative processes.
The example is the installation with computer numerical control. The operator sets the program, while he is working on getting the next part ready. Actually, most of the time 2 or 3 parts. The first part is already being processed. The second part is almost ready to go, while he is working on the third one. In other words, cleans it and blows it, in order to prepare for installation. As far as offshore stations,
comparing to previous years, the reason for such optimization primarily, of course, is the widespread use of computer technology. If before we drew on the so-called Coleman's and Wattman, used a pencil and a ruler, now all this is done with the help of a computer and special programs. Of course, everything is getting done much faster than before. This speeds up the design process and, in addition, allows us to create very complex drawings in a perspective view, for example, which we did not do before. Now all these, with the use of computer technology, have become possible.
The brand Krasnodar Compressor Plant is more than 70 years old. The industrial group has maintained the production, and its employees are developing the traditions of the legendary Cuban organization. For many people, the plant is a big and important part of their life.
The latest factory workers model, the VP20 compressor, was developed by designers at the end of the 7-year plan. Now it is in production, and already during the first year of the new 5-year plan, the national economy will receive hundreds of such machines.
First, we concentrated on full vertical integration. That means that we worked on cooperation. We had 50 people in the company, and we opted for vertical integration. It means that we were trying to deeply establish our production process. We mastered the metalworking process, the metal storing process, and so on. And of course, we mastered the assembly of the final product. We even thought about mastering the metal casings process, but in the end, we realized that it would not be effective. And now, our teachers also say that it is more profitable, faster, and better to order some things.
The main goal today is the labour productivity increase and mobility maximisation. Nitrogen stations don't only protect mines from fires, the equipment is used on offshore production platforms. Such complex customers in hard-to-reach places force the company to seek new solutions for fast production and unique delivery methods.
These are stations for offshore geological exploration. They are being used on special ships that are engaged in geophysics. These stations are also light enough to take into account all the ship vibrations. Such compressors were delivered to the leading Russian geological exploration companies, used in the Kara Sea. We also had a positive experience sending such a station to Shanghai by plane. In China, the customer could not find an installation like this. We were the only company who could produce and deliver it in 40 days.
Gasoline is becoming more expensive every day, and the use of propane cannot be called safe. An alternative is natural gas methane. The company believes the future is methane gas stations. KKZ manufactures stations according to its own developments. For example, the innovation of the plant's designers is gas batteries.
The cost of the fuel today is about 45 rubles, plus or minus a few rubles for a different type of fuel, and the cost of methane at a gas station is about 16 rubles. It is almost 3 times cheaper. So the question is, why today, with all the apparent profitability of this process, is it not getting developed? Because, on one hand, automobile manufacturing companies do not convert their vehicles to methane, and on the other hand, there are no gas stations, no infrastructure. And when it comes to building infrastructure, those who build gas stations say, "Give us consumers," and it becomes a vicious circle.
KKZ products will most likely break this cycle. The talk about switching municipal transportation to natural gas started in 2013, and they'd been talking about this in national projects as well.
Imagine if it gets implemented on the territory of our entire country. And this is what we are working on right now, including the construction of gas stations, and with the Far East and the middle zone of Russia. Imagine that transportation costs account for up to 30% of the cost of any product, and the fuel is up to 50% of the transportation costs. Accordingly, if we implement this project and reduce the fuel costs 3 times, the cost of any product will go down by dozens of percent.
Serial production of a powerful compressor, which will be used in chemical, electronic industry and medicine, is scheduled for 1974.
In the 50s, the plant received some equipment from Germany, and in 1953 the plant released its first compressor. 3 years later, the products were already exported to China. The employees participated in international exhibitions in Brussels and Damascus, represented Cuban production. The team's proud of their past achievements, but it's not going to slow down the pace of development.
There is an established opinion among employees that everything is fine with us, that we do not need anything. We are an efficient company. We successfully compete on the market with good quality products and with Western analogues. Everything is fine. Why do we need to learn? And when we finally managed to overcome this unwillingness to learn, we got the desire to learn and started to study. We sat at the desk and gained a new knowledge.
Employees improve their skills and the company's fighting for productivity. An experienced professor flies from St. Petersburg, and our professionals don't hesitate to attend lectures and ask questions.
I usually give them 2 or 3 lectures. Well, it is approximately 3 or 4 days. It depends on how busy they are, but I usually come here for a week and spend 3 or 4 days teaching my associates, the locals who work at the plant. And I usually try very hard to give them new knowledge, something that is new in my head, so it can be useful for them. Well, at the moment, after I got here, the last thing I did was I gave them a computer program for calculating compressors and expanders, which we apply now, which works, and generally speaking, in a wide range of parameters, on various gases, mixtures, etc., and so on and so forth. And this question, in fact, is the main one during my business trip here.
The busy schedule full of seminars, regardless of age, Igor, who's 82 years old, has been teaching employees for 15 years, and our technical department consultant turned 85.
The plant is developing and producing even more complicated materials. Recently, the plant started manufacturing compressor units and gas filling units, so the gas can be used for automobile internal combustion engines. These are very serious installations that are getting mounted on the chassis of large cars, filled with sophisticated automated equipment. So, I see that plant development is moving in the following direction: the increase of structures' complexity, and besides that, their improvement.
But during his 61 years of employment, Vladislav Samarkin was never behind modern technologies.
I have been working for many years, and I am used to working. And it's hard for me to be without work so far. I still see that I could help with some structural issues, in particular regarding the piston and rod seals. It may still be possible to create some design improvements that would be useful to the plant and our industry.
He works great, because I usually think highly of those associates who I already had a chance to work with, generally speaking. So today I flew here, looked at his job, because he didn't know how to do it before. Now he knows it very well. He knows how to do everything. So life makes you naturally learn modern methods and ways. By the way, even university at the moment cannot teach you and provide you with such experience.
The plant's products are ranked some of the best in Russia. Last year, the plant received an award in Novelty nomination for its nitrogen mobile station, and the Academy of Quality Problems noted the company for its success in import substitution. One of the main reasons for this is the company's ability to always choose its own way, to develop, to take risks and try what others will not.
We did not follow the path that the company was pushed to go in the early 2000s. This is the screwdriver assembly of imported compressors. And now, when we have a good understanding of import substitution, but now import substitution comes and goes, new national project, export-oriented products, work for export, our products are in demand. Why? Because we started using our own products. We did not sell many of the stations that we produce, mobile compressors. We started leasing them along with our operators and our employees. And when we started to operate our own equipment, in addition to the feedback from our customers, what they like, what they don't like, we started to see and understand the flaws that our equipment had ourselves. And our designers, with the help of this feedback, on one hand were able to refine and remove the existing flaws, and on the other hand were able to improve and strengthen the advantages of the equipment.
In 1967, the plant equipment received the state quality mark of the Soviet Union. A few years later, the company celebrated the release of its 10,000th compressor.
Some big goals are set to increase materials and energy efficiency and consumer goods and agricultural parts production.
Now and then, the compressor plant products don't just affect a specific area, they play a large role throughout the country. To protect the mines from fires means saving lives. To build new gas stations means to lead the whole country to economically positive results. Every day, young and old, new and experienced specialists of the Krasnodar Compressor Plant build the present and the future of our country.